I want to warn you that if you're not careful, you're going to end up wasting hundreds of hours of your time. In college, we like to associate how much time we're studying with how productive our study sessions are and how much work we're actually getting done. But I want to explain to you why this is a fatal flaw in the way we think and how to actually study better and study more efficiently so you're not wasting all your time studying. You can actually go out and do other things with your time. The reason why this is a problem for a lot of college students is that, at least to some extent, most of us are very ego-driven. And we look at these really, really long, say 8-hour study sessions, and we feel a sense of accomplishment and achievement when we spend that much time working on one thing. And this is maybe reinforced by some of the study content we see online. For example, the 8-hour Pomodoros, where we see that other people are studying for this long. Therefore, we can't be productive unless we're also studying for prolonged periods of time like this. But if you can take away one message from this video, I really just want to reinforce the point that there's a difference between studying productively and looking like you're studying productively. And though sometimes you will have to study for prolonged periods of time for an exam, studying for a long period of time should never be the end goal. The end goal should always be studying until you understand the information well enough to stop studying. You should never continue studying once you already know enough information. There's no sense in studying just to study. You're taking time away from other things in your day that you could be doing, other skills that you could be learning, or productive activities, or self-development, or whatever else. You're taking time away from those activities and essentially just spending it uselessly learning more and more information that isn't relevant to what you need to know. And this is why I want to talk about the 80-20 rule of studying, also known as the Pareto principle. This is essentially saying that 80% of the results you're going to get from studying are coming from 20% of your efforts. So there comes a point where after a certain amount of studying, you're essentially going to see diminishing returns in whatever you're studying. So if I were to study, say, 4 hours for an exam, the Pareto principle says that after a couple more hours, eventually I'm going to start seeing diminishing returns because the bulk of the actual work I have to get done, it's only going to be achieved by a shorter, more focused period of deep work. After you spend several focused hours working on the basics, the more hours you try to spend learning random tangential pieces of information are not going to contribute to the bulk of knowledge that you need to know for the exam or whatever else you're going into. What I would say is that one actionable step is just to become more mindful of the way you study. And when you're studying, asking yourself, am I actually focusing on the essentials right now that are going to help me with the majority of information I need to know for this test? Or am I studying just to study? Am I studying just to feel productive? I always like to emphasize that you should never feel the need to study once you already understand the information. Never feel pressured by other people to continue studying if you already know all the information for your exam. There's no sense in spending those extra countless hours just studying things you already know. It's very ego-driven, and we like to feel productive as students. We like to feel like, I don't know, we're getting our money's worth, like we're making the most of our education. But we can still do this without spending unnecessary hours going over information that we've already learned. So next time you're studying, instead of saying, I want to study for 6 or 7 hours for this test, and going solely based on the time, I want you to actually be a little bit reflective. And in the process of studying, periodically say, do I understand the information well enough? Is there anything else specifically that I need to focus on? It's okay to give it a rest. If you already understand all the information for the test, there's no harm in moving on to something else. So the moral of the story is you should never study based on time. You should never say, I'm going to study for this long because I need 9 or 10 hours to do well on this exam. Study until you understand the information well, and then after that, move on to something else and prioritize your time for other things. Now, if you're still here, I really appreciate you watching until the end. If you like videos like this on studying and productivity and self-development for college students, then I really recommend you subscribe. There's going to be a whole lot more videos like this soon. But until then, I'll see you guys.